Welcome, everyone. This is the Lanfine Community Fund Grant Writing Workshop for Spring 2026. Thank you so much for joining me. In the spirit of respect and truth, we acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We're really grateful for the traditional elders and knowledge keepers who are still with us today and for those who have gone before us. So before we get started, I just want to go over the agenda. I'll go over about cfsea, aka the Community Foundation, about Pattern Energy, about the Lanfine Wind and Community Fund, eligibility for the grant, the application process for the grant, and tips and tricks for grant writing. So about the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta. These We Grow, We Give, We Inspire are our very basic pillars that we use. So we grow by engaging donors with causes they are passionate about and about building, permanent endowments. And that is how we are able to give, which is the second point. So we distribute investment earnings to a broad range of community initiatives. So that'll be including this one. And we inspire by connecting issues and convening partners and overall developing community-based solutions. Now let's go over Pattern Energy. So Pattern Energy Group is a leader in renewable energy and transmission infrastructure. So its operational portfolio includes 30 renewable energy facilities that use proven best-in-class technology with an operating capacity of nearly 6,000 megawatts across North America. Pattern Energy is guided by a long-term commitment to serve customers, protect the environment, and strengthen communities. In conjunction with their 150 megawatts Lanfine Wind Power Project in Special Area 3 and the MD of Acadia, they have also committed to $1 million to the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta over the next 20 years. If you want more information about Pattern Energy and the great work they're doing, please visit www.patternenergy.com. So like we mentioned before, the Lanfine Wind Community Fund will contribute $1 million to the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta over a 20-year period. This grant will support local initiatives and community-based organizations that benefit the people of Special Areas 3, Oyen, and the Municipal District of Acadia Valley. Pattern Energy has designated specific amounts for the community fund, and they also have 2 scholarship funds, which I wanted to mention. These scholarship funds will impact 2 really deserving students each year in the Prairie Rose School Division who attend South Centre High School. So this spring in 2026, the total available funds for the Lanfine Wind Community Grant are $21,110. So who can apply? So any organizations that are located and operated within the boundaries of Special Area 3, the Town of Oyen, or the MD of Acadia are qualified to apply. So we're looking for charities and nonprofits that are serving those areas. If your head office is not in that area, but you offer programs that specifically serve those areas, they are eligible. Qualified donees are registered charities with the Canadian Revenue Agency, aka the CRA, and they include municipalities and school divisions. If you're not sure whether you're a registered charity or qualified donee, we encourage you to visit the CRA list of charities page. One thing I want to mention too, if you're not a qualified donee, if you're a nonprofit group or grassroots group, you are able to apply for up to $5,000 or more with a declaration of affiliation. If you're a registered nonprofit group in Alberta, currently in good standing and have existed for at least 5 years, you can request up to $5,000 without completing what we call a declaration of affiliation. If you are requesting more than $5,000, you will need to complete an affiliation process. The Declaration of Affiliation is a document that connects a qualified donee, that's again a charity, a municipality, or a school division, with a non-qualified donee, aka a nonprofit group or a grassroots group, to receive the funds on behalf of the nonprofit. In addition to signing the Declaration of Affiliation, the qualified donee will also have to share their more recent year's financial statements and a list of board members with their contact information. The nonprofit or qualified donee must also demonstrate that the funds are being used and intended for the charitable activities of their organization. If you have any questions about this, I know the CRA stuff can be a little tricky. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Helen. And our contact information will be at the end of this presentation. So our DEI process, diversity, equity, inclusion, CFSEA will provide technology support, and that will be any one-on-one instructions for individuals maybe not accustomed to digital platforms. We want to honor oral practices and to accommodate technical or physical barriers, so we will accept recorded oral applications. The deadline to conduct one of these is going to be Friday, March 20th. If you require a recorded oral application accommodation, please get in touch with our office as soon as possible. Ongoing support is also provided throughout the entire process. Okay, let's go through what we'll fund. So grants may be used to support capital, operating programs, or special one-time costs, such as events within the following priority focus areas. So that would be First Nations MAT, youth and education, local communities, health and wellness, and anything environmental. I'll go into those a little bit deeper. So First Nations MAT, grants will be distributed to causes that benefit First Nations MATs whose traditional territory is within the municipalities. Special attention will be given to the programs that have been identified by First Nations MAT communities. Next, local communities. Grants will be distributed to geographic communities that are within close proximity to the Lanfine Wind Energy Project. These grants may be used for events, facilities, programs, and organizations that support building strong and vibrant communities within the municipalities. Environmental. So grants will be distributed to initiatives and programs that support community action on ecological preservation, restoration, land stewardship, and education. This is youth and education. Grants will be distributed to programs and organizations that are working in the municipalities to meet the needs of children and youth development through education, recreation, or safety. Special attention will be given to the programs that build individual and community-based leaders. Finally, health and wellness. Grants will be distributed to organizations that are working proactively on building and supporting individual and community health and wellness. Special attention will be given to programs that are working collaboratively on finding ways to support families by acknowledging the importance of the social determinants of health. So what we won't fund, so I always like to mention this, that you cannot spend the money before you receive approval that you've been selected. So even if you have an amazing application and you're like, we're definitely getting picked, please do not start the project until you receive approval from us and you receive the grant money. So one of these things is retroactive funding. You can't spend the money if you don't have it. So please don't, because we will not fund that. Anything politically purposed, we will also not fund. Debt reduction, any direct religious activities. Doesn't mean that churches cannot apply, but if it has to do with any direct religious activities, then that would not qualify. If you have questions about that, again, please reach out. And then finally, fundraising campaigns or endowments. So here's a checklist before you start. So before you apply, just make sure you ask yourself, are you a registered charity with the Canada Revenue Agency, aka CRA? So that would be a municipality, a school division, or a registered charity. If not, do you have an affiliate if you're applying for more than $5,000? Does your project align with one of the 5 priority areas that I discussed? Be prepared to provide your audited financial statements and operating budget as well for the current year. And prepare your project budget. So if you're applying for equipment or infrastructure, aka a capital project, just be sure to acquire multiple quotes to demonstrate the price. Let's go over the project revenue, not the project, the budget revenue. This is a screenshot of our budget template. We have this for grant cycles that we do. It tends to get people tripped up the most, so I just want to go over it in detail. So again, the total amount that we have to give this cycle is $21,110, and that's for all applicants. Each applicant may request the amount needed for their project. However, we encourage applicants to almost right-size their request to align with the total funds available and the number of anticipated applicants. Partial funding may be awarded based on available resources and project strength. You will first want to title the budget with your project name at the top. So right here where this arrow is, that's where you'll put your project name. And then we're asking that you include all of the expenses and sources of revenue associated with the project in the first amount column. So that's right here where it says total project revenue. It'll be highlighted in gray. We will then use the second amount column to show which items that the CFSEA grant will cover. So this is helpful if the grant request is part of a larger project. So for example, in here, you have agency support. So you want to put some money in from your own organization, or for example, you do a fundraiser. We also have other funders here. There's other foundations, private donors, etc. If you have a government grant, there's other funds that maybe aren't included in here, like in-kind support or just in the process. You can put that down here. In this example, the agency is asking for $5,000 from CFSEA, and again, providing $1,000 from their own agency's fundraiser for a total of $6,000. Again, please add any description and notes in the second column. It just helps our committee better understand your project and where the funds are coming from. I will mention this too before I move on. If this is a smaller project and you have no other sources of revenue, so maybe the project itself only costs $5,000, then both of these should be the same. So grant requested from CFSEA will be $5,000. This spot will be $5,000. At the bottom here, the total income will be $5,000. If you have any questions about this, again, please reach out to Helen or I. Next, your budget expenditures. In this section, you'll want to explain your program costs and add descriptions in the second column, which is here. So staffing costs related to the project, again, program staff salary, program costs, so maybe that would be like the print of anything, marketing, etc. And then any administrative expenses. For like any capital projects or equipment, we have a section for that too, and some others if they don't fall into any of these sections listed. So one thing I really want to talk about is administrative expenses. You can see it almost has a red tag here. That's because when you hover over it, it'll explain that we can only give up to 10% of the grant for any project administrative costs. So for here, maybe the admin expenses for rent and mileage. I'm just looking right now, and of course, mileage is spelled wrong. But yeah, because the organization is receiving $5,000 from us, only $500 is allowed to be allocated towards administrative expenses. That is 10% of $5,000. As you can see, the organization decided to use the $1,000 it gained from the previous raffle that we mentioned on the last page. to increase the amount to $1,500. Maybe $500 doesn't cut it, and you need to add a little bit extra. Then that will go from here. The net income, so that would be the final row here, will both equal 0 if you filled out the budget correctly. Like I mentioned, we know budgets can be tricky, but they're just so important for our committee to understand your request correctly. So if you're struggling or if you have any questions, just please reach out to either Helen or me. Okay, so completing your application. Your application will be completed through our online granting portal, and that's available on our website and the Pattern Energy or Lanfine Wind webpage that we have for the grant, and that's probably likely where you found this video. It'll open on March 2nd, 2026, and that'll be at noon, and the deadline is March 27th, 2026 at 4:30 p.m. Upon receipt of your application, additional information may be required. So we will connect with you if, for example, the committee has any additional questions after the application has been reviewed that maybe the application questions did not cover. Again, there are things to attach like budget and audited financials. So if you're having any issues, can't stress this enough, just reach out to us, and we're here to assist you in attaching any of those into your applications. This is a preview of what our grant portal looks like. So we call it Grant Lifecycle Management, aka GLM. Now, if you already have a profile on the grant platform, please don't create a new one. If you are not sure how to log in, or if you're like, this seems familiar, I think that we've applied for something in the past using this page, just give us a call and we'll be able to support you. If you're like, I've definitely applied, but I cannot for the life of me remember my password. Happens to me too. You can really easily reset your password by just clicking, again, forgot password at the bottom here, and it will email you to reset your password. If you're a new user, please create a new account. If you're not a registered charity, so if you're like a nonprofit group or you are a grassroots organization, then you'll leave the spot blank where it asks for a CRA number. Application review process. Like we mentioned before, the grant applications will open on March 2nd, and they have a deadline of March 27th at 4:30 p.m. Funds are distributed late May. They're finalized within approximately 6 weeks of the application deadline. And then notifications are made first through phone, then through email. All applications, no matter the decision. So if you're approved, you're maybe unsuccessful in your application, we will notify you. And then just how it goes through the process. So once you submit your application and the deadline has passed, a local advisory committee will review applications and make recommendations for funding. And so this is established by Pattern Energy, which includes representation from each of the 3 areas eligible to apply, the Lanfine Wind Project Manager, and the chair and co-chair are myself and Helen. So the committee considers all eligible applications and makes recommendations for our board of directors. So once that happens, they present their recommendations to the board, and the board is the one that does the final approval. Let's go into the general tips. So when it comes time for our committee to evaluate the applications, there are many things that they consider. So I will give you a few tips to just help you understand the evaluation process and kind of what they want to see. So my number 1 recommendation is always refer to your grant guideline document as a cheat sheet. It is super helpful and it really does have all the answers in it. Next, make sure you simplify and use point form. Some grant writers have mentioned it's too small, like we don't have enough characters to write everything. But we truly do want bullet point answers. We want it straight to the point and easy for our committee to understand the project in a short amount of characters. Next, use numbers to showcase impact. So for example, how many people are going to be impacted by the project? How many events per year will use the equipment? I want you to think about the trickle-down effect really carefully. And then highlight partnerships. So look for community partners to maybe integrate with, or maybe even funding partners. In the application, we'd also have a letter of support section, and we highly recommend using this. So that could be community members that are really in support of your project. It could be other organizations that are in support of your project. It could be the municipality being in support of your project. There's so many options, and our committee really appreciates seeing that. And then when in doubt, just connect with us. I know I've mentioned this a few times during the presentation, but I do really mean it, is if you do have any questions, we want to make this application process a pleasant one for you. And so if you're not sure of the meaning of a question, or you want to clarify something, or even want to brainstorm projects with us, please connect with us. Again, if you have any questions, please contact us. We truly are here to help. And Helen and I are excellent resources, especially Helen, who operates in those areas. So again, my name is Emily. I'm the Grants and Communications Coordinator. You can reach me by email at grants@cfsea.ca. And here is our office phone number. And then we have Helen, and she is the Regional Development Coordinator who actually works in Special Area 3, the Town of Oyen, and the MD of Acadia. Her email is helen@cfsea.ca, and this is her cell phone number. Just in case you can't reach her at the office, oftentimes she is working in the areas that we serve. So thank you very, very much for attending this grant writing workshop. I hope it was helpful, and we're looking forward to seeing your application. Thank you so much, and good luck.